space. So that's a big leap, and you can see it in the defense.
People talked about, especially with Cassius, how you made it difficult, not just defending him, but just to catch the ball. When you flip on the offensive side and somebody does that to you, how much more difficult does it make the game when you have to really earn everything out there?
Yeah, it makes it a lot harder. But I just think about the energy. The first game we played him, we let him relax too much, and he was playing comfortable, and he didn't waste that much energy. So just trying to wear him down over time. So.
Eli, is that defensive change sort of a philosophical change from the last couple of years? We've heard so much about just playing one-on-one and not much helping, and the numbers kind of bear that out. Teams don't get assists and things like that. Is that a bit of a just shift overall?
It was always taught, but it was brought to the forefront now that moving forward, and we knew we had to make changes in order to be better defensively. So that was just one of the changes that we had to make.
And then with Big John, he struggled a little bit shooting the ball lately. What can you guys as sort of the post feeders do to maybe help him get going, or?
Try to find him earlier. Some of the passes he was off the block, so just trying to get him as close to the basket as possible and put him in the right positions.
How has his demeanor been in practice and everything? I mean, it's a bit of a slump.
It's been good. His energy's been there. He's still talking. He's been the same John, just the shots aren't falling right now.
I know you and John, right before the Nebraska game, when we talked to you guys before Xavier's suspension, you guys talked about trying to step up vocally for that Nebraska game and then sustaining it. Do you think you guys have done a good job doing that?
I feel like you can always improve on it, but I feel like we did a good job. I feel like everybody on the team's talking more, and that you can see it, and that's some pros, and you can see the wins coming from that.
John wasn't used much on post-ups his first 3 seasons. How big of an adjustment was it for him to go into this year and have to post up a lot constantly on offense?
Yeah, John doesn't have that demeanor, so Coach Howard was trying to instill that into him, and he embraced it in the first half, the first half of the season. But he just needs to continue to stay confident, and it works. So you just got to get to his spots and trust that the work that he's putting in is going to pay off.
Can you elaborate on what you meant by he didn't have that demeanor, or doesn't have that demeanor?
Like that aggressive, you don't see that of John. He's just not that kind of person. So just trying to get him to be more aggressive and more nasty, as Coach would say.
Is there anyone you guys haven't watched, like any post scorers, like centers, NBA guys that you have John try to emulate?
I'm not sure on that.
Have you seen Franz grow defensively? It seems like he's kind of embracing that role a little bit more.
Rebounding. He's been rebounding really well. And the first half, when Isaiah went out, he needed a rebound, and everybody needed a rebound because Isaiah's a big presence there. So Franz growing on that aspect, and then just better angles and understanding the angles in the game, the different ball screen coverages that we have. So,
how much better has he gotten off the ball specifically? Franz, yeah.
He does a really good job with movement, pin screens, flare screens, and then just find the open windows. So.
You guys are 2-0 since Isaiah came back from his injury. How much normal does it feel just in all parts of the game? His communication, rotation off the bench, offensive continuity, just all that stuff, having him back out there 30 minutes a game.
You can definitely feel a change. It feels like the Bahamas again. People are having fun. You can see the smiles. Before the Northwestern game, that was something that Coach Howard preached. He was like, go out there and have fun. I feel like sometimes we get lost that it's a basketball game and we lose that sometimes. So just having the smiles on everybody's faces and winning helps with that. So
is that a direct effect from Isaiah? I mean, he seems like a pretty happy guy generally. Is that?
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's really positive. Brings a lot of energy. And it's a little different when you're on the court versus when you're on the bench. So
To that point about Isaiah, last 2 games, no one's had to go to that 35, 37, 39-minute plateau. How important is that, especially it's the middle of February, you guys have been playing in season for a while?
Yeah, that's big. We're in the final stretch. Everybody has to be healthy, and especially going into a tournament when you would play back-to-back games. That's big when you have bench play like we do.
For you offensively, it seems like you've really been able to kind of assert yourself a lot more going back to Nebraska and on forward. Was there any changes that you made, or what's kind of allowed that to happen?
Coach Sadi just continued to be on me about hunting shots, and just taking that to heart and trying to apply it.
You've led the team in scoring a couple of these road games, maybe even the last 3, I guess. What do you think that you bring to the road that maybe you can impart to the rest of the team? Do you have a approach to road games?
I like road games better than home games, honestly. I like hearing the other crowd, and I use like reverse psychology. Like when you miss a shot, they're cheering for you. So like, so like you don't think about it as much. So the next shot's going in. That's how I think. So it's a weird way to think about it, but it works for me.
So should the home crowd cheer on your misses then? Is that
No.
Juwan said you guys had yesterday off, so have you done any like Indiana film work or anything yet? Can you speak on them, I guess? If not, it's fine.
I got some defensive clips from our video guy, but that's about it. And we had our scouting report up, but that's something that we look over today and then tonight and then moving forward.
Joanne talked about how different assistants kind of take the lead scout with each game. Do they do things more or less the same, or do you see any differences between Howard, Sadi, and Phil?
I think the biggest change is when Phil does his scouts. I don't know, it's just the way he like approaches it, and the way he talks about each player is just a little different than all the other assistants.
What is different about it?
He just points out little things, not necessarily the picture, like the big picture things that everybody else would point out. So just little details about like his moves and stuff and his tendencies that aren't on like most people's scouting report.
You find that makes a big difference?
Sometimes, yeah.
Eli, you mentioned you guys knew you had to make changes on defense. Was there ever a certain breaking point or a certain game that kind of sank in for you guys?
I can't think of what game it was, but after one of the games, we had one of those practices where, like, one-on-one, every single defensive drill you could imagine, and I'm not sure how much time we spent on offense, but it was a lot of defense, and we needed that, and there was a lot of competitiveness in that practice because we wanted to make sure we still had that edge, even though we were in a losing streak.
And Coach Howard cited your guys' energy and effort these last 5 games. I guess how have you seen that kind of pick up this recent stretch on defense?
I mean, offense helps with defense, so like being able to have the energy and getting out and running and getting early buckets really helps with defense. Play with more confidence. People always talk about confidence on offense, but there's confidence on defense, and just having that energy behind getting those stops and trusting the scouting report.
Been Austin's teammate for a couple of years, I guess. What have you seen these last couple of weeks? I'm sure he's catching a lot of fans or outsiders.
Yeah. We always knew when he was capable of it. It was just putting him in the right spot to succeed, just like anybody else. And he got a shot, and he's doing well, and it's just happy to see him happy and him smiling in the locker room, talking with everybody. You can see how much he's talking in the locker room and how outgoing he is now that he's playing well, and he feels comfortable with everybody in the team, and people are trusting him. So it's good to see that.
From someone who does see him every single day, I mean, if you were scouting Austin, I mean, what are some of the things he's doing maybe better that we hadn't seen much because he hasn't played a lot over the last few years?
He's physical. He's not afraid to hit anybody, and he's really skilled with his feet. Even though on video and stuff he looks slow, but he's really crafty around the basket and really uses the basket really well. Of using it to shield the big man off. And my favorite play was against Michigan State where he pump faked, stepped through, and then pump faked again. And it's just really I'm really happy for him. I can see the changes.
Isaiah called him the best finisher on the team. Would you agree?
I would have to go with X, honestly. X is really crafty, but for big man, I would say he's the best. He's the best finisher.
I'm wondering if you feel more of kind of like an offensive burden on your shoulders if like those inside shots aren't there, like kind of like they were at the like start of the Northwestern game.
Say that again?
If you feel like more of like an offensive, I guess, burden on like offensive responsibility when the inside shots aren't there for you guys.
Not really. We know one thing that coach always says is the ball finds energy, so the shots are going to fall eventually, and the percentages are going to weigh out. I talked about that before. Like, if you're a 45% shooter, you're going to be a 45% shooter over time, so it's just a matter of time when those baskets fall.
And then Livers kind of called you the silent assassin, I guess, of the team. Is that a role you kind of embrace? That's something you guys talked about before?
And that's just something Isaiah said, honestly. he has a whole bunch of different names for me, but yeah.
Fair enough.